compared to the main event, which kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. Brodie Lee randomly showing up, challenging Jon Moxley. No sign of that ever being the direction they were going in with Lee or Moxley. And Moxley was just kind of floating, doing nothing after beating Hager a couple weeks ago on Dynamite in that empty arena match, which was not really that good. But anyway, I mean, it could be a good match. I'm sure Moxley and Lee could have a good match with each other, but I just don't think it speaks too well to AEW's, again, ability to create new stars if they're making their main event, seemingly the main event for their biggest pay-per-view of the year, between two guys that were in WWE literally a year ago.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like you said, it just seems very random. I'm assuming some stuff like all the stuff that COVID definitely messed this up, but I don't know. Like you said, I think Brodie Lee's done a lot for the Dark Order to kind of get the group on a more national weekly level, because I think they're kind of a joke for that. Still not a big fan of the actual group, and I don't really love his character as well. But just kind of going full circle with a lot of things wrestling, both guys need wins right now. Moxley's champ, just won the championship, so he needs wins. Brodie Lee's the leader of this group that's supposed to be taken seriously. So if he's losing a month in already, obviously it's the champion, but I mean, he needs to win as well. You got to kind of solidify him being a big deal. So I don't know if the company kind of backtracked into kind of an unfortunate situation just because of what's going on in the world. But both guys need wins. Tough situation. I mean, I think they'll have a good match. Moxley, I would say, has to win. He's just the bigger star right now, and just kind of what the company's going for. Can't just have him win one, beat Jericho, who had the longest reign, and then lose the next month to Brodie Lee. It kind of feels a little silly. So I'm going to go with Moxley. I think it'll be a good match. Just like you said, feels really random and is booked kind of last minute.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just kind of comes out of nowhere. I don't think Lee... So I like Lee being in AEW, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they're pushing him too hard, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be hypocritical, but I just don't see him being a world title top contender like right off the gate. Like, the guy is coming off a very damaged run in WWE. It's not like he was Dean Ambrose, who was at the top of the card, doing notable stuff. He was doing absolutely nothing in WWE. And it's not like the Dark Order is his meal ticket to the main event scene. He's making them more relevant. But I feel like it's a lose-lose because you have him win. It's way too soon. Moxley just won the championship, and he's not ready to drop it yet. There's a lot more opponents for him to face than fucking, Brodie Lee. But then if you have Brodie Lee lose, I mean, they could always rebuild him back up. He doesn't have to go undefeated, but I feel like he kind of loses some mystique there, so I feel like it's a lose-lose either way, unless they do a non-finish, which I feel like is not going to happen because AEW never does non-finishes, so I feel like it's a lose-lose no matter what they do.
Yeah, you can't do a non-finish for your quote-unquote biggest pay-per of the year between two guys that need wins. I mean, that just leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth. It's like if WrestleMania ended on a non-finish, I don't know. I feel like the company who needs a lot of that would just, I don't know. I think especially their fan base, I just don't think they could defend just everyone attacking them for having a non-finish at the end of their biggest show. It just would seem, like you said, it basically them having a non-finish would them be throwing in the towel and saying, yeah, we messed up booking this and we just backed into it and this is why we're doing this because we didn't mean for this to be that way. And it would be indefensible. You can't have that in your biggest show. You just can't do it.
Nah, yeah, I just don't see that happening. They've done a lot of great work. They've only done maybe one no DQ or one DQ finish in the last year, which is impressive. So I don't see them doing that here, but I feel like they really booked themselves into a corner with this match because I just don't see a positive outcome. I want Moxley to win. I think he will win. But Brodie Lee losing already, I don't think it's smart. So I feel like there were better opponents. Why not? I mean, maybe they did want to save Moxley and MJF for when it meant more and do like the promo battles with crowds. I get it, but I don't know. Lee just seems like a strange choice. I guess it's better than like Jake Hager or something. Like that could have been even worse because that match was no good. The empty arena match, but
who else would you have if you were booking it and weren't going to do MJF or Brodie Lee? Who would you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to think of right
now.
That's
the issue because everyone else is kind of already like we knew Sammy Guevara. The guy's not really a big star. The other heels you would have are Lance Archer's already doing something. Besides that, like, I mean, that's kind of another thing is like. They were just at this point when everyone else is kind of already booked. They don't really have any of the bigger heels that can afford to lose right now that are big deal enough to put them in the main event. That's kind of another thing.
I don't know if you do Ambrose or Moxley and Jericho again. I don't know. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, maybe they could have taken Jericho out of the Stadium Stampede thing and then just done the Elite versus the rest of the Inner Circle without Jericho involved. I'm looking at the roster right now. There just aren't a lot of people, though. So maybe Lee was the best choice, but I don't know.
Did Moxley and Jericho ever have like a rematch after Revolution? I mean, they might have. I just don't remember.
They didn't. No, they teased it, but they never did. Honestly, I feel like that might be better just because Lee should not be in this spot right now. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, so now that we're thinking of it, maybe they should have done Jericho and Moxley, and Moxley retains again. And then you just do the Stadium Stampede match between Proud and Powerful, Hager, and Guevara versus the Young Bucks and Kenny and what's-his-face. You could have the Inner Circle win. Then you just continue to tease tension between Young Bucks and them. Like, Matt Hardy, I love Matt Hardy, but does he really need to be in the match? No.
No.
So if you just got rid of Matt Hardy and then just had Jericho face, I feel like that would be... Maybe you could have... Hey, Matt Hardy versus Brodie Lee. Brodie Lee gets another big win. Gets another win on TV, on a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I think they kind of backed themselves in a hole there, and they should have just